How's it going, everyone? Astro Commander here. Today I am bringing you guys the Ashened profile I promised you all. I'm sorry it's a day late. Internet was out yesterday. I couldn't really control that. But without further ado, we will start with 3 copies of Vidos, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, you can target 1 card in a field zone, special summon this card to your opponent's field, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can add to your hand or set 1 Ashened continuous trap from your deck. If this card is sent from your opponent's field to your graveyard, you can destroy all monsters on the field. You can only use each effect of Vados once per turn. So it says a card in the field zone. It does not say your field zone. So if your opponent has a field spell, you can destroy that one and still summon them to your opponent's field. We then play 3 copies of your main starter of the deck, which is 3 copies of Priestess of the Ashened City. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Priestess of the Ashen City once per turn this way. Before I continue, all of your Ashen cards can be special summoned from your hand as long as you have Obsidian on the field, but they're all only able to be special summoned that way once per turn. So they all have the effect. I'll still read through them, but just to get that out of the way, all the Ashen monsters can all be special summoned as long as Obsidian is in the graveyard or on the field. So this other effect is if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Ashen card from your deck to your hand except Priestess of the Ashen City. You can only use this effect of Priestess once per turn. So is a good searcher for you. Get more Ashen cards to your hand, allow you to special summon more out, get more bodies onto the board. We then play 3 copies of the Spearhead of the Ashen City. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Spearhead once per turn this way. If your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, which Vidos does have 2800 or more attack, is your main setup for the board. Get him on the field and it allows you to do a lot of your effects. You can tribute this card, then target 1 card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. You can only use each effect of Spearhead once per turn. So this is just an easy way to return targets to your hand or their hand. We then play 2 copies of Shaman of the Ashen City. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Shaman once per turn this way. You can target 3 of your Pyro monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. Then, if you shuffled an Ashen monster, which 9 out of the 10 monsters in this deck are going to be Ashen monsters, you can add 1 Obsidian Ashen City from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Shaman once per turn. So this is your field spell searcher. So if you don't have Obsidian yet, you can use that to get it, or you can use it to get a second copy to your hand. That way, if something happens with the first copy, you can still get it on there, still continue your plays. We then play 2 copies of Hero of the Ashen City. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Hero once per turn this way. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target 1 Pyro monster on the field, destroy it. Then, if you destroy Vados, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, by this effect, you can place 1 Obsidian from your deck face up in your field zone. So this is another searcher for your Obsidian, but this one just sends it to your field zone instantly instead of giving it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Hero of the Ashen City once per turn. We then play 2 copies of King of the Ashen City. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon King of the Ashen City once per turn this way. During your main phase, you can special summon one Ashened monster from your hand, except King of the Ashen City, or if your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, aka Vitos, you can special summon it from your deck instead. So this will allow you to summon from your deck any of your other Ashen monsters to continue your plays. You can only use this effect of King of the Ashen City once per turn. And then this one is kind of an honorary Ashen card. It is a Dark Pyro, the same as the rest of them, still same art style, it still works with the deck pretty well, but it just doesn't have Ashened in the name, and that is 2 copies of Queen of the Blazing Domain. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. If this card is in your hand, you can target up to 2 cards you control, including a face-up spell trap, destroy them, and if you do, special summon this card. If you destroyed 1 card, return this card to your hand during the end phase of the next turn. If you destroy 2 cards, this gains this effect instead. Any monster sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. You can use this effect of Queen of the main dominion once per turn. So that is it for the monsters. We will move on to the spell cards, which we play 3 copies of Awakening of Vitos. Place 1 Obsidian, the Ashened City, from your deck to face up in either field zone. So you can play it to your opponent's field if you want to keep your field zone open for another copy eventually, or you can play it to your own. Either way, it's probably going to get popped just to set off or with Vitos. But then if your opponent controls a card in their field zone, you can add 1 level 5 or higher Dark Pyro monster from your deck to your hand. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the deck or extra deck except for Pyro monsters, which is why Queen of the Blazing Domain fits perfectly into this, because that makes every monster in the main deck and the archetyped monsters in the extra deck, they're all Pyros. So this card does not affect your main deck at all. You can only activate 1 Awakening of Vitos per turn. But this is a good starter, so that's why we played at 3. We then play 3 copies of the main staple of the deck, which is Obsidian, the Ashen City. This card is a must-have in this deck. You cannot skip this card. Face up, special summon monsters your opponent controls become Pyro during your turn only. You can only use each effect of the following effects once per turn. During your end phase, you can target 1 Obsidian, the Ashen City, in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck, then draw 1 card. If this card in the field zone is destroyed or banished, you can special summon 1 Ashened monster from your deck. So it gets you cards out from your deck. It also has replayability. You could drop it to 2, just due to the fact you can reshuffle this card. I play it at 3 because I like to see it a lot more often. We then play 3 copies of Inferno of the Ashened. When this card is activated, you can place 1 Obsidian, City of the Ashen City, from your deck face up in either field zone. You can target 1 face up card your opponent controls and 1 level 8 or higher Dark Pyro monster in your graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the other monster from your graveyard to your opponent's field, which is going to be your copy of Vitos, because he is your level 8 Dark Pyro. In defense position, you can only use this effect of Inferno of the Ashened once per turn. You can only activate 1 Inferno Ashened of this once per turn. So this is a hard 1 per turn. You can only use 1 of that card's name. Next, we play 3 copies of Extinguishing the Ashened. Send 1 Dark Pyro monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add 1 level 5 or higher Pyro monster from your graveyard to your hand. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Pyro monsters. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon one Pyro Fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as material. You can only use each effect of extinguishing the Ashened once per turn. So this is your main fusion card of the deck. Next, we play 2 copies of Rekindling the Ashened. Place one of your Ashened cards that is banished or in your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, except Rekindling of the Ashened. Then, target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. You can only activate one Rekindling of the Ashened per turn. So, basically place one card on the bottom, and then you get a negate. So, this is a good card to have because you can use cards from your graveyard. You don't have to worry about messing up your board at all. And then for the non-archetype specific cards, we play 1 copy of Terraforming. Basically just makes it so you have 4 copies of Obsidian in the deck. This card searches your field spell. We play 1 copy of Bonfire. You can add 1 level 4 or lower Pyro monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Bonfire per turn. This card just searches you most of your Ashened monsters. And then for the last one, I play 3 copies of Chaotic Elements. Add 1 level 5 or higher light or dark Pyro or Aqua from your deck to your graveyard to your hand. Then, if you have 3 or more Pyro and or Aqua monsters in a graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field. If your opponent controls a monster, light or dark Pyro Aqua, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase. So this is a good way if you gave them Vidos, you can then get them back by taking control of it since it is a Pyro monster. So you can only use each effect of Chaotic Elements once per turn. So that's why that's in there as a 3-of, because you want to see this card so you can try and get that Vidos back to swing for game, so you don't have to worry about going over Vidos, and you get that extra 2,800 on your side of the field to attack with. And then for the last couple cards of the deck, we play 2 copies of Ashened to Endlessness. During the main phase, you can fusion summon 1 Pyro Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as material, including Vidos the Eruption Dragon of Extinction. And if you do, it gains 500 attack for each material used. You can banish this card, add 1 Dark Pyro monster from your graveyard. All monsters your opponent currently controls. Sorry about that. I just had a blurb there. All monsters your opponent currently controls become Pyro monsters until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Ashened to the Endlessness once per turn. And then for the last 2 cards in the main deck, we play 2 copies of the other trap card, Ashened for Eternity. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Vidos the Eruption Dragon of Extinction or 1 Ashen monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls that you own, take control of that monster, aka, once again, Vidos. Then you can make all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to the targeted monster's original attack, so that's 2,800. This attack change lasts until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Ashened for Eternity once per turn. You can only activate 1 Ashened for Eternity once per turn. So this is also a hard once per turn. But you play as a 2-of so you can see it sooner. But that is it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we are playing 3 copies of Vidos, the Dragon of Endless Darkness. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target it with monster effects. So it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it can't be targeted by monsters. If this card is fusion summoned, You can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls, so it's basically a Harpy's Feather Duster. When your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, quick effect, you can send one face-up Ashened card you control to the graveyard, destroy that card, so it's also a negate. This is going to be your main go-to boss monster, but the other one in the deck is definitely a good card as well. But that is definitely your top card. Your other one is 3 copies of Embers of the Ashened. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target one field spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So your Obsidian of the Ashen City. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's Pyro monster, which would be Vidos, you can destroy that opponent's monster, and if it is your turn, this card can make a second attack in a row. You can only use each effect of Embers of the Ashened once per turn. So one of the main things is if you have Vidos on their side of the field still, summon this one, it swings over. It still gets the extra attack for 2,900. So overall you do 3,000 damage because it's 100 over Vidos in the first place. Next, we play 1 copy of Infernal Flame Vixen. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card. This card gains 500 attack until your opponent's end phase. When this card with 2,500 or more attack is destroyed, target 3 monsters in any graveyards, banish those targets. I tried to stick more towards the archetype / the attribute for cards in here. And then play 1 copy of Infernal Flame Banshee. You can detach 1 material from this card, take 1 Pyro monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. If this card is banished and you control another Pyro monster, you can special summon this card, and if you do, it gains attack equal to the number of currently banished monsters times 100 until the end phase of this turn. You can only use each effect of Infernal Flame Banshee once per turn. We then play 1 copy of number 104, Masquerade. During either player's battle phase, when an opponent's monster effect is activated, you can detach 1 XE material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, inflict 800 points of damage to your opponents. Once per turn, you can send the top card of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. So it thins down their decks and burns them for a little bit of extra damage. We then play 1 copy, because we have the copies of Vidos in this deck, we play 1 copy of Divine Dragon Knight Fildbrand. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. This turn's effects are negated, but it is unaffected by other card effects. So, it can save you, but you then also can't target it with any of your other effects. It's just negated. Then for the links, we play 5 of them. We play 1 copy of the Dark Charmer Gloomy. This card is always treated as a familiar possessed card. You can target 1 dark monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your zone this card points to. If this link summoned card is destroyed by battle or is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it's in its owner's monster zone, you can add 1 dark monster with 1,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So once again, it's another searcher for your Ashened monsters. You can only use each effect of the Dark Charmer once per turn. We then play 1 copy of Wee Witch's Apprentice. All monsters on the field all dark monsters on the field gain 500 attack, which all your monsters are dark Pyro monsters. Also, all light monsters on the field lose 400 attack and defense. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 dark monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use each effect, or use this effect of Wee Witch's Apprentice once per turn. So you can get the dark monster from your graveyard once per turn, but the other effect is just a permanent increase for stat modulation. We then have 1 copy of Brute Enforcer. You can discard 1 card, then target 1 face-up card on your opponent controls. Your opponent can discard 1 card with the same original type, monster, spell, or trap, as that face-up card to negate this effect. Otherwise, destroy that card. You can only use this effect of Brute Enforcer once per turn. So that one I threw in here for a little bit of either thinning their hand or for getting rid of monsters off the field. And then I play one copy of Code Talker. It gains 500 attack for each monster this card points to, cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. Well, this card points to a monster. So, if you put Vidos on the other side, another one of your Ashened cards on this side, it gains 1000 attack, which allows it to get up to 2300, which is another beat stick you can use to throw into it. And then for the last card, it goes with the theme, I think, pretty well. I play one copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. You can also use one monster your opponent controls as materials to link summon this card. If this card is link summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. This link summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard, quick effect, you can negate the activation. So, like I said, I try to keep this deck as close to archetype as I can. Obviously, they only have the 2 extra deck monsters, so I had to kind of vary off a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave comments on decks you want to see. I have plenty of decks I still have to do, but I want to do decks that you guys actually want to see. But as for the video, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please comment, like, and subscribe, as it really helps me out and lets me know you guys want me to keep doing these videos. But until next week, I hope you guys have a great week.